Hey guys, so I'm reading Bechamp or Pasteur by Ethel Douglas Hume. And I've been reading this book for a long time. So, anyways, I'm getting through it now though, because I'm trying to be more focused about reading it. But I'm reading on to chapter 7. And okay, so I want to share this quote because it's really inspiring. Because I never thought of it like this. So the quote is this: Nothing is the prey of death. Everything is the prey of life. And this quote comes after a section where it talks about this experiment where this professor, took inorganic material from I should probably just read it, but it's from, hold on a second, from some type of creature commonly to be found in ponds, and killed it, essentially, and then put it in a culture and noticed that stuff was growing out of it. So, I guess what some would call a somatid, I'm thinking. There's something like a speck that's not moving, and then bacteria not moving, and then it would be like moving bacteria. It's because they were trying to find out, like, where does this stuff come from? How does it occur? So, I'll just read real quick if you can follow. It says, Professor Bastian asserts living matter may have been continuously coming into being ever since the time of man's first appearance. And yet the fact that no member of the human race has ever seen or is ever likely to see such a birth throws no doubt upon the probability of its occurrence. Professor Bastian based this belief upon such observations as his experiment with the Cyclops quadricornis, no idea what that is, one of the entomostraca, so commonly found to be commonly found in ponds. Professor Bastian based this belief upon such observations. Oh God, I just read that. I'm sorry. If we take one of these little creatures and put it in a drop of distilled water on a glass slip with a fragment of number 2 cover glass on each side of it, and place over it all a cover glass, it will be found that the animal is soon killed by the weight of the glass. We may then place the microscope slip in a petri dish containing a thin stratum of water so as to prevent evaporation from beneath the cover glass. And fixing upon one of the tail setae, these being larger than those of the abdominal feet, don't know what that means, but we can keep following, we may examine it from time to time. What may be observed is this: after an interval of 2 or 3 days, the duration depending upon the temperature of the air at the time, we may see under our microscope scarcely visible motionless specks gradually appear in increasing numbers in the midst of the structureless protoplasm, and still later we may see some of these specks growing into bacteria. Later still, all the bacteria previously motionless begin to show active swarming movement. It is clear we have no process of infection from without, but rather a de novo origin of bacteria from the protoplasmic content of the spines or cilia. The fact that they appear in these situations as mere separate motionless specks and gradually take on the forms of bacteria, also motionless at first, is, as I have previously indicated, just what we might expect if they had actually taken origin in the places where they appear. On the other hand, such a mode of appearance is totally opposed to what might be expected if the microorganism had obtained an entry from without, through the tough chitinous envelope of the spines. End of quote. Professor Bastian gives numerous examples of the finding of bacteria in internal animal organs and in fruit and vegetables, where he demonstrates the impossibility of an invasion. Can the followers of Pasteur provide any solution of the mystery? If they cannot, it must be conceded that no mortal blow at the doctrine of spontaneous generation was struck by Pasteur, as he proudly boasted. The dealer of this blow, or at any rate the provider of an explanation apart from heterogenesis, was not the French chemist performing for a fashionable audience which included all Paris, but a hard-working French professor and physician who was also a chemist and a naturalist, and who was taking little part in all the talk because he was so hard at work wresting fresh secrets from nature. Even admitting that he demonstrated before Pasteur and far more thoroughly the role of airborne organisms, it may yet be asked how Bechamp's observations enlightened any better the depths of heterogenetic mystery. The answer to this is that in his memoir of 1857, the professor did not include certain of his observations. His reason for the omission was that the results he obtained seemed too contradictory to be accurate. Believing that he had made some mistake, he set aside these particular experiments for the time being. In the end, as the following pages will set forth, his apparent failure was ultimately to provide the solution of the problem, and was also to explain the development of organized life from the most minute commencements. It was, in fact, according to him, to be the nearest elucidation ever given of an animal and vegetable upbuilding of the processes of health, disease, and final disruption. In short, it was to wrest from nature the stupendous truth: nothing is the prey of death, everything is the prey of life. I just thought that was inspiring, wanted to share. Take care.